Good evening. It is Thursday live show. Lot of stuff going on today. I don't know what's going on in your state right now, but the governor of our state was on TV, and they actually are going to be suspending all schools. College has been down already, but all the schools are going to be down for like 3 weeks. They're going to incorporate a couple extra weeks into spring break for a very long spring break the way it looks. So things are changing pretty quickly. I don't think it's not like it's not dire, but it's not as drastic because the majority of people don't even know they have it from what I've seen. The flu itself is going around too at this very same time. So there's a heck of a lot going on. We're going to talk about what the title says. We're going to talk about possible recession and what that would mean for resellers. It's not all bad, so don't everybody fly off thinking this is going to be some bad video. It's not a good thing when a bunch of people could lose their life over something like this. Thousands die every year from flu, and this is like 10 times worse than flu, so it's serious. It's not going to be the end of the world, though. Thus, this is going to go away at some point, and then, in a month or so, things will hopefully return. Right now, China, where it started, is doing far better. Playing it safe, I'm sure. You don't want to infect folks with it. But we're not going to talk specifically on the virus. I don't want to get into any political ground or anything like that, or anybody thinking I'm trying to diminish a health issue. I won't sell the products at all. I didn't mark up anything, didn't reach out to sell any of the products, and I voiced that on several shows already. I don't make money off of medical issues at all. I'm not going to be one of those selling bottled water for $10 like they did when we lived in Katrina. People were getting shot over a pizza and stuff in Mississippi when we lived in there when Katrina hit. So I would never do that. I have a child with a pre-existing condition, medical issues. I would never ever recommend anybody. I would never, look down on you if that's what you want to do or need to do. But I could have sold masks like a month and a half ago when this first started, and we thought about it. We said there's no way we could do that. Same with sanitizer and all that stuff. eBay's already getting on people right now, and I've seen them shut down some listings already. And I did see a warning post on Amazon. eBay just sent out an email regarding the virus today, like an hour or less before the show. So if you haven't checked that out, I didn't look at it yet. I didn't have time to look, but there is a message from eBay in my box right this very second that showed up within the last hour. So if they mass sent them out, everybody probably has one of those sitting in their box right now. There is a lot going on. As he said, they canceled all events, games, NFL, everything's going to be shut down apparently. The president has shut down air flight. Other than if it's family or people returning to the U.S., you can still come from Europe, which is still an issue, obviously. Cruise ships on California coast we know about. We've got the spot in New York. For us here, they've got... last night I was told it was 24 cases they're pending results on. It jumped up today in our state to like 52 with 5 confirmed cases and 1 from crowd infection. They were just randomly out in public and caught it here in this state. So, it's not to a drastic point, but tens of thousands of people could have it right now. Again, it's like 1% or less or some real low percentage. They haven't figured it out yet because some countries haven't the means to take care of enough sick, so some folks could be dying that wouldn't necessarily have to if they could get into a hospital. You all know that if you watch the news, that China built a hospital in just like days or something that since collapsed, though. But, they even ran out, so, it's going to be a strain on everything. I don't know if they're closing the malls and all, but I would imagine that would happen as well. You got to look at this. This is my business. So again, anything I'm talking about here is financial interest. I'm turning off my personal side now. So we're going to talk just about business today. That's what's important. I hope that's what everybody's on here for tonight. I'm going to call out some names in a little bit here, but I really want to talk about the biggest thing that everybody's going to be doing is worrying. At this point, nobody should be worrying. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. I know everybody jumps the gun. I went to Walmart yesterday, and there wasn't a single solitary piece of toilet paper in the entire store. And this is one of only two in the whole area, so it's a big store, and there was no toilet paper in there at all. We found it at Kroger, so it wasn't a big deal. Plus, I buy in bulk at Sam's Club and all that stuff too, so I always have like $50 worth of toilet paper, maybe more than that. I don't. People think I'm crazy, but I learned my lesson during Hurricane Katrina. Always have stuff on side. We keep enough food for a month almost all the time, for all four of us plus some extra. So I'm not some making some shelter, anything like that, or survivalist. It's smart when you've seen things happen. Just like water here in this city, we couldn't drink our water at all, or even shower with it or anything when there was an algae bloom in the lake. Our water comes from a lake up here. So, you got to be prepared for all of this. And I've even talked about stuff like this to be prepared for. Now, I'm going to let you in on something that, probably there aren't many people that have. I have a BOP that would cover this. If I can't do business or my source of revenue is stifled because of something like this is a bona fide thing I can get coverage for. I've already talked to my insurance company. It covers natural disasters, natural events that are out of my control on my business owner's policy. So that's a reason why I've paid for a business owner's policy for years and years. Never have I filed a claim, never had to do anything, but it's always there in the back, so I don't worry like other people do. If my house gets zapped, again, I'm covered for loss of all of my inventory. If my storage facility or the warehouse gets cracked, I'm covered for that as well too. So it depends on the type of policy you have, but this is secondary. Obviously, it's a little late to rush out and get one right now, but that's something you have to do when this is your only source of income. I don't have to source right now either, so that's a good plus for us. But if this is your only source of income, and you can't go out and source, and you source week by week and list what you get as you get it, and that's how you're making your money, this is going to put a damper on a lot of folks on that way. You still got Craigslist. You still have Facebook Marketplace. The local live auctions around here, some of them have online, or you can call in absentees. You can look at items ahead of time so you're not there when the crowd is there, and then just place your bid in ahead of time. I don't go over a certain price, so if there's an argument or somebody's trying to bid me up, when it hits my limit, I stop. I never get auction fever. If it goes over even by $1, I'm done. I keep it that way, so I never overbid on something. These are things you can do when you can't source. I'm sure the flea market here in our area, there was supposed to be 2 of them here. The first one I know is already canceled. The second one I haven't heard yet, but I could imagine that they would be allowed to run it since the governor has said that no meetings over 100 people. Flea markets usually have a good 1,000 plus, so I am sure there is no flea markets to even source at this whole time frame. My son's school is, as I said, closed or will be closed for 3 weeks, as well as college. All the colleges closed down here. I got Patreon and some of the folks that I talked to as well as some friends, all told me that Disneyland is shut. So Florida's next. In all of the 10 plus years I worked at Walt Disney World, it only closed for half a day in all of that time that I worked there. In 10 plus years, they never closed down for anything. If the hurricane was going over it, that was the only time. They closed it for a hurricane that went over the Disney complex, and they had us show up early the very next day. I think we closed at 11 or 12. The hurricane came through, and they had us all working the next day. That's the only time in all of those years that Disney has ever closed. I worked there straight for 10 plus years, or just under 10 years, I should say. So many businesses are, shutting down. The biggest issue is that folks who work in restaurants and places that get a lot of people in all at one time may not have a paycheck coming in, depending on how your company does it. I don't know. Maybe the president will issue some relief where companies are able to give out pay. I doubt anything like that would happen, but you never know. You can always cross your fingers on that. A lot of people talk. I see somebody. I'll holler at some names in a minute. I see people saying death pile and stuff. I've got years worth of inventory, and I'm not in any way exaggerating. I'm probably gonna, in one of the Patreon videos, I shot some footage trying to show you some stuff, and you'll get to see a wall, well, probably a few walls of merchandise that haven't been touched. We buy in summer, and I buy when it's bulk and when it's cheap, and when it's tons of it out there because the price is lower. In winter, everything's higher. Good example, if something happens, you don't buy in big bulk or buy every time you can. You might run into times like this where you can't go out and source. You're physically able to, but there's nowhere to go because nobody's going to be opened and everybody's panicking and stuff like that too. I'm not going to panic, I, Lord forbid, wouldn't want to lose a loved one or anything, but there isn't much you can do about the current situation other than ride it through. And again, it's not going to be a forever situation. China's already, semi going back to normal life. We order products from overseas, so I do deal with some manufacturers in China. One is in the province where it started at, so we were waiting on some glasses to show up. They still haven't even shipped, and this has been like 5, 6, almost 6 weeks ago. We do deals, so I do stuff from overseas. A lot of the products over there are better than you would think if you hunt around. My friends, my son goes to school with several folks from China, and he's known a couple of kids for quite some time, like 8 or 10 years, and we've got some connections. So I got a little dope on some of the inside. I know it wasn't so great over there, but our orders will be shipped or will be leaving the shipment facility. So, things are going back to normal over there. I know obviously Italy and Europe and New York, New Rochelle has some issues there. They've locked some areas down there. Here in this country, we're just at the start of it from the way it looks from, what I see. I even took a college course and we covered pandemics and stuff like that in it, which it was a societal, I guess, health-related class at UT, University of Toledo. Interesting to dig into, but logistic-wise, if you got anything to list at home, that's what you should be doing. I would say if you don't have to go sourcing, don't go sourcing. Just leave it alone. Like the flea markets and stuff. And I was going to meet somebody, and we were just emailing back and forth just before the show. I think it would be best not to go because these places have vendors from maybe a 300-mile range, maybe even farther than that sometimes, because people drive around to these flea markets and they'll be like not a caravan, so to speak, but, they'll camp out or spend, a night somewhere, and then they'll go to the next one, and then they'll swoop home after that, Yeah, that's what a lot of those folks do. I know many personally, so you're bringing in germs from all over the place, I guess is the point. So we're going to avoid all of that at least till next month from what it looks like. I'm not hurting for anything. I personally would stay away from the antique malls. I did see somebody make a antique mall comment. It just depends. If a lot of people aren't going to other places, they might go to antique malls. There's a lot of older folks there. You may not know you're sick, and I just wouldn't want to bring that. My mom's getting up there, and I don't, want to be bringing anything home personally that could affect her because I might not know I have it. I haven't been feeling so good, but there's a flu been going around, so I don't hold any water into that at this point or anything. So, there was people sick here 3-4 weeks ago, starting. So I'm not going to worry too much on anything yet. Let's holler out some names. We've got over 130 people in. If you're enjoying the conversation or you do follow the channel here, if you could hit the like button, I apologize there. It's been a long day. Hit the like button and show some love for the channel. Let's see what we got going on here. Karen is the first. How are you doing, Karen? I think I responded to something of yours today. Aaron, I did see you sent something back. I don't get on there that much, as you probably know. I haven't had a new post on there in a little while. I'll hit you back probably when I get off the show. Those in Patreon, because I already see 3 or 4 patrons right up on top. New videos up. I had some... This happens once in a while. I try to do like the 30-minute videos on there, and what happens sometimes is I'll compile it. I'll think it's all set, ready to go. I should just play them all to double check them, but so far into the video after I uploaded it, it just kind of stopped. And it said the video was like 30 minutes long, but when I play it, it only goes up to the 15-minute and some odd mark. Wherever it shows that one ending is where the long one stops. So, and I tried to fix it once, and I ended up having to cut it and remove a section. So Patreon video is in 2 smaller sections, unfortunately. I just didn't want to waste more time and spend another day to get it up, so I figured I'd at least get you something else up. There'll probably be 2 more videos. The other half of that, which is already ready to go, and then another one that I already started to work on Patreon. There will be a video tomorrow here, which I do believe will be the question and answer. I, again, have picked questions from below my videos on this channel, and we are going to answer some of them on there. So, as I said before, if you want some questions answered and you don't get me this way, go ahead and hit me up through the comments underneath the videos. I do look at some of those. You will see me answering some on many of the videos these days. I don't get on Facebook very much, in all honesty. They've had some security issues that have bothered me. Somebody that we've watched in the past got goated, if you know what that is. There's been a lot of stuff. My father-in-law's Facebook account was hacked. So I'm very leery now, and I got some very suspicious emails into that account last month. So I am very leery on doing much on Facebook anymore. Instagram I have not had issues with, other than some advertising things that they do. But so I don't get on Facebook very much, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people love it and stuff, but I'm not a political motivated person either, and there's some politics at play at Facebook these days from what I see, and I'm not supporting or unsupporting anybody. I just don't want to be involved in anything political either. That's not my nature. I'm business and family. That's all I really worry about. Policy is all I care about either. I don't care what party somebody's with or anything. Just give me the policies. But anyway, let's see. Where'd we go to? Gabe, how are you doing? Diane, how are you doing? Good evening. I see you on most of the shows, Diane. Today I went to a few antique stores, and I have been seeing so much of the stuff. Dom, of course, Dom Primetime Treasure Hunter. We are live tomorrow, 8 p.m. on Dom Primetime Treasure Hunter's channel. Friend of the channel, as everybody should know. He has the topic and a link so you can see what it's about. I won't broach that today. We are going to save all that content for tomorrow. It addresses similar content to what I've already, written down for tonight's discussion. But we're going to go into options on stuff for fixing it for you. So you'll want to watch tomorrow. Again, Primetime Treasure Hunters channel tomorrow at 8 p.m. It'll be me and Dom. Don and Dom show tomorrow. So check that out. So you'll see some posts probably. I'll probably do a little teaser out maybe tonight or tomorrow morning for that too. But good discussion for tomorrow. Let's go back to see who's here. We'll get to some more of the comments in just a few moments. Let me just throw this out there. Don't panic if you sell stuff, even whether new or whatever the case may be. People aren't going to be shopping in stores. They're going to be buying it offline. So get all the stuff up that you can right now, I guess, which should be the point before I go back to questions and stuff. Get your stuff up now. This is the time. So if you're not going out and sourcing, get up everything you got right this second that's useful stuff. Clothing will be good stuff to buy, households, DVDs and video games for sure, because kids are out for 3 weeks here in this state. Every video game I got has been pulled and ready to go up right this very second. All the CDs I got, all the DVDs I got, music, postcards I'm probably pushing to the side just temporarily. There's some collectible fields that I will keep going on, because the people that buy a lot of that stuff that we sell, like Victorian and early paper stuff, are from universities and colleges, and they'll have extra time. That means they'll be buying and spending their expense account money while they're off school, while they're off college. So this could be a 3 good straight weeks of some good sales if you leverage what people would buy in the boredom time of winter. That's what you need to look at. People, I'm not going to the store to buy clothing. I'm not going to the store unless I need something, but I'm going to have some free time, possibly the time I won't be out shopping, whether you're working or not, and you'll be buying it online. That's what I see. My sales are up, and I do mean up. I almost sent Dom a screenshot, but I wanted to do a clip instead of a photo of the screen. But my sales are up like 62% right this very second. And I relate it to people not going to shows and sales and all kinds of stuff and sticking it at home. They have extra money, the folks that are still, running with their normal jobs and stuff. So everyday life is going to continue. There's not much we can do about the issue. So make the best of it. Again, as I said, list what you can right this second. If you got some good clothing that you think would sell, this is a good time to do it. I would almost be willing to bet that you're going to have a boost in sales if you sell certain types of things. Again, video games, excellent time with a lot of kids out of school. The parents aren't going to want them going out and hanging out in big places with a lot of people. The games are going to come into play. I'm telling you, the videos are going to come into play. DVDs, Blu-rays, all that sort of stuff. Board games will probably sell better right now too. I'm not saying go take advantage of it. I don't mark anything up for this time. I stick to the same example I always do. If I would have taken 10 before, I'm going to take 10 now. I'm going to take 10 later, whether there's a virus or not. I don't up my prices on anything for something like that. If let's say something's worth more true intrinsic value, it's a different story. But I'm not going to play around with my stuff for a 3-week time frame. I had talked about putting my items on a sales markdown and promotion, not the promoted listings, the one that's free that you set up and do yourself. But I haven't even had to do that. Still, it's been a couple of months. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch my own video to remember the last time I did a promoted listing. Not a promoted, but a sales markdown, I should say. I haven't had to do it. I have not had to do it, which is a little surprising. Again, I think there's a big fear, and a lot of folks aren't outsourcing and doing things. So, they're doing it online. They're buying stuff offline. And as I said, if you need to buy stuff and you still can't source, a Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, local live auctions, most of them, again, have absentee bids. I would go when there's nobody there before the auction, like the day before, do the preview day, write down the lot number, leave the bid while you're there, even, for crying out loud. You can do it right there. Don't have to, as long as you're 3 feet or so away from most folks, you should be safe, for that little bit of walk-in to do something like that. That's my take on it. But it's not a full panic mode. Obviously, I worry for those I love, and I don't want anything to happen, but your business goes on. It's got to, you got to set aside all the personal stuff and go straight towards the business and work it just like you would any other way. Find alternate sources if that's what you got to do, as I said, but list everything you got if that's the case. Worst case scenario, you don't sell a bunch of it. You're going to sell some more, I would imagine, as long as it's good stuff. But in 3 more weeks, you've got more stuff up. You're already building your inventory up. The only way, if you're going for the long tail mode, the only way it's going to work is if you get a lot of stuff up. This might play out for us better because people won't be in school and they can work more for us too. It's a toss-up. I don't think they'll mind coming here. Hopefully they don't bring anything that they might have caught at school over here, but I'd probably get it anyway because my kids go to school there anyway. So, it's just making the best of it, I guess, at this point is the biggest thing. Now, the talk of the town, when you look at Wall Street, S&P, A&P, and all of that, just the Dow and everything that we're looking at, they're up and down all over the place. Oil prices tanking. The Fed's going to move on that, I'm sure. You'll see some movement and stuff. There's not much you can do about that. It doesn't necessarily do a ton if you're not in the stock market. So for those not in the stock market, I wouldn't worry about those numbers at this point. Again, you can't do nothing about it. Things will level off once this is better. It's not going to last forever. There'll be a time when either everybody has caught it and it's all done and worked its course, or, they'll clear it out and it won't get across the whole population. So, it's not a World War Z situation here, I should say, anyway. Let's go to some questions, some comments. Well, thank you, Fancy Pink. How are you doing this evening? Leo Smith. How are you doing, Leo? A good friend of the family. His first name was Leo. He was a Congressional Medal of Honor winner during World War II, and he sent my father stuff everywhere he went. I've got boxes of souvenirs from World War II. Let's see here. Mark, how are you doing, Mark? Let's see here. Hustle and Grind, Calgary. Good evening to you. We've got Carl in the house, too. Again, if you didn't hear, I do have another video up in Patreon. The video for YouTube, I've got 2 done. I don't know which one I'll put up for tomorrow. I was trying to get a little ahead because I've got another art professor video coming up, probably 2, and there will be a live show on the art professor. I'm going to keep that a little secret here until we get it all set up. I'm still working on a movie night for here. We'll have a movie night appreciation night where we're going to play probably a hour-and-a-half long movie live with me, and probably it's going to be Dom as long as we get everything worked out. And we'll be just tossing stuff back and forth. Just a fun night. But in the show, I'm going to be giving away a box of movie-related collectibles that are sellable or whatever you want to do with them. If you're looking for inventory, I'll be giving some free inventory away. So that'll be a contest for that show. It'll be given away on live on the show. We're still working on setting it up and how to get it to run smoothly. So after that's all situated, we'll go from there. But those are plans. Those what's tentative. So keep an eye out. Creative Uniques, how are you doing? Let me slide down my feed sometimes again. If you've been on, you know my feed bounces all over. Don, can you safely use glasses, cleaning wipes to clean a record, or are there chemicals in the wipes? I don't. If you're going to clean a record, what kind of record it depends on. Use the softest, like a chamois or something you can find. And then I literally just use a couple drops of dish detergent in a bowl if you don't have a record cleaner. I've got a record cleaner. I've actually got 2. In fact, in one of the videos here, we're going to show you repairing a vintage record cleaner, and we're going to show you how they work in a video. I acquired a really neat Art Deco one here that we're going to take apart, and I'm going to have my son rewire it. I'm going to fix up the case, and we're going to do that on a video in here too. But if you don't have one, a little Dawn works the best. Just a couple drops of Dawn in that. Light water is about all I use. I only use water on the disc itself. Do not touch the label. You can be a little more, not rough, but a little less careful on a 78. But on a 33 or 45, you got to be very careful because a tiny little speck on your cloth could leave a scratch across the record. So you got to be very careful. Don't get the label wet, as I said. I would not use any chemicals whatsoever on a record. Some records are made out of styrene, and if you're using certain chemicals, you aren't going to know the difference between a styrene record and a vinyl record. I guarantee it. I've got them. I know the difference because I've had probably 50 or 60 in my day. They don't show up very often, if that tells you. We've got a couple of 400,000 records, and I've only had 50 or 60 styrenes out of every record I've ever bought. So, but you don't want to ruin a record that's styrene. They're usually more collectible. They're scarce. The ones that I have are almost all soul, northern soul dancers. They're all dancers, soul dancers. Summers 422, how are you doing? I think I answered a question for you too. Disney Family 515, yeah, I chatted. We got that. I sent you another one, I think, after the last email too. Danny, how are you doing? Vegas Picker here, I see. I have been to Nevada before. Wasn't a bad state, just a lot of open area with not many trees where we were at. AMG, how are you doing? Our township schools are down for a month. We homeschool, so no big deal. Carlene, how are you doing, Carlene? Good evening as well. We've got Duncan right down here. Let's see what Duncan's got. I'm in 62% range sales up from last week, right this second. Up this week, stamped postcards and letter flyers out the door. Flying out the door. Yeah, I wished I could get more stamps. I do broach, and I've got some more stamp conversation coming into Patreon. It's already shot, too. I've been shooting a lot of extra videos, trying to catch up so I can get to a point where I can do one video a week on the other channel. Because I got so many things, projects, just I've recorded parts of it, and I can't even have time to put it together, even with staff and all that. So we're ramping up for something big on our end here, which I'm not going to go into until everything's done, but we're really ramping up. I've got people editing my Shopify videos right now. Well, not this second, but this week they've been editing them. When the whole thing is done, it's going to start to go up, so it's consecutive, and I don't have to worry about coming back in and editing it. Weeble's videos, I'm waiting for my camera to get back so I can shoot something else for that. My nice camera has to have the whole motherboard replaced in it. It's a very expensive repair. But it'll be back next week, and I cannot wait to get it back. I even ordered a professional power pack for it, or a plug-in pack that's supposed to be the safest on the market, so we don't have any other electrical issues with a camera that costs what one of those does. The other camera, the camera that I was using, is an Alpha 6400 by Sony. Look it up. It's a primo. It's like my favorite camera in my entire life. It's blown me away in the few months that I've used that thing. It's just, I love the camera just for ease, for accessibility, for understanding, for the features. I don't want to brag on the camera too much, but that thing is just, I'm really impressed. And I've always been a Nikon person, but that Sony, man, I'm telling you, I was super blown away by that thing. The quality of the thing is up there with somebody I know who has a $6,000 camera. This thing's, into the 1,000 range, but still it's right up there with stuff 5 and 6 times as much. But anyway, off that topic there. Yeah, sales are great right now, Duncan, as I said. Kathy in not so sunny San Diego. One of these days I will get out there to Comic-Con or something, I think. I just hope they don't decide to shut the post office down. eBay, somebody told me, in fact, maybe it was what was in the email, that they are going to address any issues that they have if they change or close down a post office. Maybe that's what the email is about. I didn't read it, as I said. There is an email in probably everybody's box, I would imagine, at this point from eBay stating what's going on with them. Just FYI. I know a lot of eBay already has... they do like home jobs where they telephone in and I can't remember the name of the service. It's on my laptop because I've actually live conference called with eBay before myself with some head of seller support, seller services, seller experience. There's like 3 or 4 people in the room that I got to talk to, but that's how they do a lot of stuff at eBay, from my understanding, and they've got the ability to like instantly go off on that. Everybody who's in a department head at eBay apparently has dedicated, everything set up, personal laptops that all, link and everything's ready to go for all that kind of stuff already. So I don't think it's going to affect us much, Carl, personally, unless the U.S. government shuts down the post office. I could see them maybe possibly shutting down the post office itself, but you can just order everything online and have them pick it up. I would imagine that wouldn't stop, I would think. They're just not wanting to have a bunch of people, customers probably coming in would be my guess. Danny M, let's see what we got here. Hang on, my feed's frozen, so I'm going to lose where I was at any second now. Oh, there we go. I think if you have enough inventory, I think you will be good. More people that stay home, more people will buy online. That's exactly what I said. That's what's going to happen. Aaron, yes, how you doing, Aaron? Gail, how are you doing? My fear is that the create panic about mail. If that ever happens, online will tank until this is done. Again, a BOP will save you from any issues like that. If the post office is closed and I lose money because of that, my business owner's policy will cover my lost expenses. I will just have to look at what they were running beforehand, and I can judge what they can continue from that, especially because I can supply last year's complete sales breakdown to my insurance company. I already called them. So just FYI, I have a business owner's policy. When you get to this point, I'm going to say this again because I know I said this earlier, but when you get to a point in your business, this is all of my income comes from online. If online doesn't work, I can't make money, so I cover myself. Even though I haven't used my insurance for close to a decade of me having it, I still feel so much better having coverage. It's just like having life insurance, health insurance, auto insurance. It's there for a reason. I would always recommend it once you get big enough to be able to afford it. Because if you get hurt, this covers it. If something happens to my merchandise, a fire breaks out, it's flooded, or hurricane, a virus, and nothing can ship, I'm covered. It's all natural issues that are beyond my control that are covered under the umbrella of my business owner's policy, my insurance for my business. That's being prepared. I have it. I've had it. It covers the buildings where we're at and everything else. You can encompass buildings on multiple locations into one policy as well. So if you're renting a warehouse, it's covered under your policy. If you've got a storage facility on another property as well, as long as it's only for your stuff, it is covered under your policy as well. You can also cover every building on your main premises as well and mix it all into one big policy. So I would never recommend not having it once you get, and this is your full-time income. If this is your full-time income, you've got to protect yourself. It's the only way I know. Every business in the real world, every brick and mortar, everybody in corporate America has insurance for this reason. So, I'm sure a lot of these big companies may have insurance as well, just like I'm saying that I have for their businesses. So if they shut out, the company may be okay. Doesn't mean that the employees will be okay, but the company should be fine. Good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, that's just the way life is, I have to say. So, let's see here. Dahlia's Vintage, how are you doing? Good evening to you. John Valentine, Warren County, New Jersey. I've been through New Jersey a few times. We drove up from New York once through New England even. Nice area up there, very pretty. I mean, it was really nice, especially in the spring and flowers blooming everywhere. It was really nice, actually. Ian, no more talk. The conversation is going to go to what we can do and what to expect more so as a recession. Just FYI. Yeah, Carl, that 1% fatality rate is just for certain areas. I think it's Italy that it's like 6 or 8% fatality rate. That's why I say the fatality rate varies depending on how much they're overwhelmed. If way more people get it in one area than anywhere else, their mortality rate's going to be much higher. The countries that have, like Italy and stuff, they've got medical for all. So they have better ways. In our country, we may fare 10% possibly because a lot of people can't afford to go to the doctor. So, that's my fear, is it might be even worse in our country because we don't have an infrastructure to take care of that. And if it does happen, it goes to a hospital and, everybody's going to have to take care of the issues. It's going to cost a fortune and, it's going to bankrupt a lot of people over medical. Let's see here. Yeah, it is much lower. I see what Carl's saying there. And I get your point on that. But again, Italy, I think, is like 8%. It's really high in Italy, the death toll rate. In some areas, it was 3.9. Again, it depends on the infrastructure. If you've got health for everybody, people aren't going to be worried about the money. Around here, people might just think they got the flu and don't want to spend the money and worry about the bills and everything else. I know a lot of, when I worked in restaurants, a lot of servers had to work when they were sick. I wouldn't let them, but they tried to fake it off like they weren't sick because they needed the money. And I understand it, but I can't afford to get the public sick. That's part of your responsibility as a general manager to make the call to send somebody home for that reason. And there's nothing, they can do, employee can do about it. They're required to go home because it's a health hazard, and you're required to do that kind of stuff. So Amy, how are you doing? I've been to Dallas many times, Austin, Houston. Stressful struggle. I canceled all of my auctions this week. Yeah, I'm not going to any live or anything like that. In fact, I'm not driving out to a couple pickers. I asked them if they'd hold on to it, and they said the same thing. They don't want to mess around right now, so I'm not even meeting up with pickers for the next couple weeks. Carl, that's what I said. A lot of people freaking out. I've been stocking up on supplies, not because of the virus, but because of all the folks emptying shelves. See, my Walmart was just trashed the other day. Now, Kroger's wasn't too bad. The produce department was wiped out, though. Got back from the store half an hour ago. No toilet paper at all. Not a joke. That's what I said, Disney Family 515. I don't want to call it your real name, so I'll just keep you to Disney Family 515. We just went to Kroger's today, though, and I bought a whole bunch. I filled up half underneath the cart with toilet paper. But again, we always have like $50 worth of toilet paper. I buy it in big bulk lots at Sam's Club and stuff, and then I usually buy a couple of them. You never can have too much. Hurricane Katrina, that was like the worst thing. You couldn't get toilet paper anywhere. So ever since then, I've always bought like 3 and 4 extra. When it's on sale, I buy it in bulk. So if I buy it in bulk and it's on sale, I'm buying a ton of toilet paper. Like shampoo, if it's on sale, I buy like 5 or 6 of them. Why not? I got the money, I'm going to buy it and set it aside. Food that's on sale that I use, I buy it in bulk. All that stuff. It's always smart to do it that way. As a business, that's what I was required to do, so I do it for my personal life too. Buy it when it's cheap, just like buying my merchandise. I buy the majority of it during the summer when it's everywhere and cheap. Buy it when it's cheap and you sell it when it's high. Service one. I am actually in Ohio, but we were in Meridian, Mississippi, with family on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi when Katrina came by. Katrina wiped out one of our properties, cost us pretty much everything in one house, so it wasn't a good experience. Let's see here. Hawaiian Flower Child, how are you doing? Smoky Blizzard, good evening. Yeah, I think people with the toilet paper, I wondered the same thing, but sinuses. I use toilet paper over tissues. I think the majority of people who want to save money don't buy tissues, they buy toilet paper and they blow their nose in toilet paper. That's what I do again. Everybody in my house has done it since I can ever remember. My parents did it. Again, toilet paper. That's what I think it is because it's got flu symptoms with the respiratory and sneezing and runny noses. It's the only thing that makes sense. And then again, what Carl said too, I think a lot of people are freaking out and just snagging up everything. It's not going to be like a Katrina. I don't think they're going to stop, food supply deliveries and stuff. I mean, again, as I said, we always keep like a month's worth of food supplies in the house. After Katrina, I've always just done that. It's just, what we do. The only thing I would other do, we might go out and buy like a 20-pound bag of beans and a 20-pound bag of rice and some powdered milk, just something to sit on the side. They can set for a while because you never know, just to be safe. But having kids, I always have extra everything. Yeah, I got to sneeze into something, exactly. Let's see here. Yeah, baby wipes people do buy too, yeah. And when toilet paper's out, you can always buy paper towels. The whole paper towel aisle was full at Walmart, but the toilet paper was gone. Just buy some of the Bounty, the softer paper towels if you have to. You can't throw them, they're not flushable, so keep that in mind. Yeah, we buy whatever. The toilet paper was there for us, though, the second day. I wasn't going to rush out and do it. Hang on just a second. I've got 8 totes to list to keep me busy. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I've got probably 12 shelves, 14 shelves of regular merchandise, and then a couple 100,000 records I could list. I'm talking 5 foot, well, more than that, 8, 9 foot shelves by 5 or 6 feet across, I guess. I have so much inventory, so I'm good. How about you guys? Yeah, Danny, I'm great. As I said, that's the way to play the game. What's a good dollar limit for auctions? I guess it would depend on the types of items. Yes, it would. Service 1, yeah. It's not a death pile, it's backstock to us. I don't care, that I have a bunch of inventory. If I've got nothing into it, it's nothing to me. Yeah, and the objects mentions here too, that if you can't get out to get toilet paper, you might as well buy it when you can too, which is another good point. If you're too sick for a week or two, and this is the people who have had it for like 2 weeks. So if you're sick for a certain length of time, you're not going to want to go out and buy it. So you better buy it when you're not sick. Again, just another thing to think about when you're out there. Yeah, the cruise ships I've been watching on that too, because that seems to be the case. The Japanese one too, they said it was probably the worst thing to do to keep people quarantining because it meant more people on that ship will probably get sick than if they were quarantined at their own house or something. Yeah, that I wonder on that too. Stony Creek Picker, how are you doing? Email from eBay says some reps will be working from home. Yeah, see, There must be another email or something because they said something about I've got several comments from people, text messages and posts from people saying that eBay said that they were going to carefully monitor. In fact, let me look real quick because I swear it said. Hang on. Yeah, I think it was going on to carefully. They're going to carefully monitor shipment and adjust if needed, is what it says from somebody. So apparently something's going around, or eBay's posted something somewhere that says they're going to address any changes the post office may make. Let's see here. Stony Boy Curtis, how are you doing? Big Island too, huh? Yep. I'd like to go to Hawaii one of these days. Carl Bach is staying in more will be great for me. I have a ton of inventory. That's what I said. Everybody else is saying they got a lot of inventory. List the heck out of it. You know, everybody's going to be staying home. No, even if they are working on their days off, they're not going to go out and hang out in public. You know, so all those things are good. Again, I'm going to say it again. Video games are good right now. Board games so-so. Books are probably going to do fairly well. Video games, DVDs, Blu-rays, movies, even some music probably too. But most people that I know, download music. They don't, buy most of it. I haven't bought anything in years. I just get them from the library. That's about it. If I can't find them online, but YouTube has almost everything I listen to. We just have a ton of YouTube playlists. We're on the YouTube, the family package with Red, I guess, or whatever it's called. So I have no commercials either, so they just play one through the other. New revolution of eBay sellers now. Got at least 10K to list right now. I won't tell you how much I have to list. It's you'd have to add a 0 or 2 to that for sure. Well, more than I've got a lot to list. I got a lot. I probably got more. Well, I've definitely got more than I have up, and I've got millions up now. Ken wins from Oahu. Wow. Quite a few from Hawaii on. Mr. Wade. Wade from Wade's Ventures is on. How are you doing, Wade? Wade is over there on Oregon coast, so hopefully Wade is doing well over there. It's kind of scary in some of those areas just because I know that one of the nursing homes, I think maybe it was in Portland, which I do believe Wade's in the Portland area, if he's still on. That one of the nursing homes alone had like 10 deaths there. Of course, older folks, more at risk, so that goes to the rate. It depends on where you're at for the survival rate. Can you sell homemade Aloha masks? I wouldn't see why not. Hey Marie, how are you doing this evening? I see the two of you on there. I'm not sure if you both watch, but I've seen your photos before. Once I've seen the same names so many times, I've looked at most people's emojis of those who are on all the time. Best thing to do is go be a test subject and get the virus over, and so you're immune and you get thousands of dollars for being a test dummy. I wouldn't do anything like that. The virus is mutated already and could mutate again, so it's theoretically possible to go around more than once. If it mutates into something else that doesn't immune you from it the first time, because you can get chickenpox twice. There's a second strain of it that you can get. I know somebody personally who's had it, Sam, how are you doing, Sam Dallas? I won't have anything shipped to my house for the next month. I'm sure lots of folks will. It can't survive more than, an hour or two outside or on surfaces. So if it's in the mail, you have nothing to worry about from what it looks like. Hang on just a second. My feed just went all over, and I am God knows where. Okay, way, way up. Yeah, Sam, I wouldn't worry at all about that, too. The virus cannot live for very long on anything. They need moisture, a moist stratus. Otherwise, they're dead. So there isn't much to worry about with packages shipping in. The facilities that are shipping stuff out from China that have shut down, they shut down because they don't want the employees to get it. It had nothing to do with spreading the germs overseas because, again, they can't live that long. They'd be I don't think there's anything like that can live that long. I know there's maybe some cosmic ones, but that's about it. Jeffrey, how are you doing this evening? Yeah, again, I'm not worried at all about shipping. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of cruise ships in general. I know many people are. Yeah, wash your hands. That's another thing. Yep. That's the number one thing that every health department's going to tell you. Wash your hands all the time. Don't touch your face, after you've touched anything, and you should be safe. Let's see here. It may be on more than your hands, but as long as it's not touched to your mouth or your eyes or where it's going to get you internally, you don't have much to worry about. It can sit on your skin. It's when it touches your mouth, your saliva, or your eye or something that's going to get you sick. Yeah, around here, thrift stores have been empty for a long time before this, so it has nothing to do with that around here. Yeah, Duncan's got people like I have that'll go out and source for them. People source for me and they send me stuff, or I'll call and pick it up. Hey, Doris, I have been to Austin before. Yeah, a lot of people are staying in. You're going to see a lot of that. The road this morning going out, and I know it was early, but at 6 something this morning, there was nobody out in the road, and there's usually a ton of traffic and the whole works. I don't know, maybe people are keeping their kids home already. Thank you, Y Flower Child. Karen Mary from Florida. I lived in Florida for 10 years. Yeah, get your cold medicine. That's what we talked about, too. We went today, and we were so aggravated because they sent home anybody who was sick at the store, and there was nobody to ring you out. And we had, carts full of stuff and had to do them one by one, and you can't fill up your area. You got to keep pulling bags off, and I had to get the person over there every 2 minutes. It was just terrible. I only shop at grocery stores at 6:37 in the morning just because of my schedule. I've got employees later and all that stuff, so I always shop, before 7 a.m. in the morning. Brian the Oakbrook Picker, how are you doing? Yeah, it sounds like most folks who have commented on here, which at least a dozen or so, have said they've got a ton of inventory. So, in my book, this is perfect timing for somebody like us. We don't necessarily have to go anywhere anyway. I don't anyway. So if you've got enough inventory, this is a perfect time to don't go out and source. So you're going to save some gas. There should be some better sales again because people will be ordering. If you look on it yourself too, if you have any concerns about the fact that it could live in a package, it can't, check it out. There's plenty of things. The CDC has a page out on it right now, how you can and can't catch it. There's too much misinformation online in general about it. I've seen people think it's something related to Corona beer, believe it or not. So I look up from the source. I've taken classes on this sort of thing, not specifically on this virus, but transmission of disease and things like that. It's an elective. It's a humanities class, so just FYI. So it's not all what they say it is. You gotta pay attention to where you're getting your sources from. Let's see here. Shusyaz Picker, how are you doing? J&J Flippin', hey, how are you two doing? Can you test something to be Bakelite? Mostly, if you rub the Bakelite, you two, it's going to smell like, rub it till it gets warm. Hold it in one hand, rub it till it gets warm, and you can smell if it smells like formaldehyde. If it smells like formaldehyde, it's going to probably be Bakelite, like 99% of the time. There's some other tests, and there's some stuff that people put on it and stuff, but the only one I do is the rubbing. And as long as, rub it really hard and hold it right up to your nose, cup it in your hand, and it's the only way you're going to get a good scent, but that way does work for me. Usually I can tell by the color, on all honesty, on most of the Bakelite, because they only made it in certain colors. And if it's not one of those colors, I'm already leery of it to begin with, so it's the color thing. But that's the best test that I do for it. I'm sure somebody will holler out the chemical test, because there's 2 or 3 of them. One of them I've seen actually remove color to one specific color of the Bakelite. So I'm kind of cautious on it. It didn't remove it, so to speak. It faded it wherever they put a drop of that stuff on, and I'm not going to risk it personally. Don't stick a hot needle in it, I'll tell you that. That's only for bone versus something else. And you two, J&J too, I won't call out your personal names, but they have canceled everything from what I was told. So all the shows, all of the events at the fairgrounds have been shut from what I understand. The governor's orders killed anything over 100 people right off the bat, which would be included there at anything at the fairgrounds or anywhere those places like that. We have to think not only about ourselves, but about the others who may be at greater risk. It's time for everyone to be thinking about themselves as a member or a large community. Yeah, that's why I say I'm not going anywhere just because I don't want to be bringing something home to somebody else or an older relative or parents or anything like that, too. So, I'll tell our kids to stay away from big open areas with a lot of people. Not that there's many of those open right this moment either. The mall's the only other place I could think of. And, a department store or something. But how many people go to those these days in the first place? So, let's see here. Danny, same thing. Another one. Danny, I have tons of inventory. That's always a good plus. This is the time, if you call it a death pile, I call it backstock. But if you call it a death pile, get rid of it. List it all. Let's see here. Are you a collector? Good evening. Where do you get all of those vintage commercials you show at the end of your videos, if you don't mind sharing? I really enjoy them. There's multiple sources. The Internet Archive is one of them, but I research all of the copyrights that I can before I use anything. When I see one on a site, I actually go to like all the paid services and see if it's in their inventory. If it's in their inventory, then I can pull them from a free site, because again, there's a lot of stock footage companies that have all these things, and other people have posted copies of those. It's not illegal to take a copy of a public domain image or a video, just FYI, because again, it's public domain. So you can't copyright it as your own if you're pumping it up somewhere else as it was originally issued. So I get them all over the place, but the Internet Archive is a fairly decent source for most of those. Plus, there's some commercial sites. There's videos. The U.S. government's got a real good source too. Anything that was produced by the government is public domain. Anything, any of those videos. So there's like 1,400 videos, and then there's many other companies like Jam Handy and things like that too that offer a lot of good content. It's an older company. Shelby's another one, another company that we've used a lot of their old videos from too. Commercial-wise, though, I hunt them down from maybe 10, 12 different sources. So just FYI, there's no specific one source. There's a lot of commercials I'd love to put up, but I'm leery. Somebody made a comment the other day, and I know they were joking, and I took it that way too, about Mad Balls and putting a Mad Balls commercial up in the Mad Balls video that I had up the other day. I wanted to do that. I have two commercials from them, but they're currently releasing Mad Balls and have current active Mad Balls commercials, and they have their own channel here for the company, and I was just worried about taking a direct hit from them because they have a copy of that commercial on their own site. I really wanted to put it up there, and I know there was many other people on YouTube who have it up too, but for all I know, Mad Balls let them keep it up and just took their revenue from it. And I don't want to give all my revenue away from a video. Not that it's a fortune anyway, but just because I have a commercial. I love the vintage commercials personally. The wife and I, and when the kids used to watch commercials, we have a commercials before we watched a movie, sometimes for 15 minutes or so. I've always liked the vintage commercials, and some of the local ones are awesome. Family Auto Mart in Florida was one of the ones I still remember to this day. In fact, we even made a little skit out of it for our son when he was just an infant and stuff. But anybody from Florida, Carl might remember Family Auto Mart. I'll see you there. You might remember that. I'm fixing to learn you. Anybody from Florida will probably remember that. It's from about 15 or 20 years ago. It was a car dealership. I loved the little small town ones and stuff like that personally. I love the old vintage toys. If you saw the last one I put up, there was a G.I. Joe one in there. For the longest time, I have the light guy in that commercial, and I couldn't remember what he was from. I set him aside. I even have a G.I. Joe book somewhere, and I never for a minute thought that was G.I. Joe. And I found the commercial, and instantly I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't believe I didn't know what that was. But the last run of G.I. Joes is what that came out. I can't remember what the name of the green dude was, but I've had him a couple of times, and I didn't know he was G.I. Joe for right off the bat when I bought him. But I love looking at that stuff. I had big GI Joes when I was a kid, and the whole works. I remember all the setup and the base set and all that kind of stuff. I love the old toy stuff. There's a couple Star Wars ones that I found copies of that I may throw out there too, but I'm a little leery on it because they play John Williams music in the beginning of it, and I don't want to again get a ding for something just for sheer entertainment and enjoyment of it. I love the videos. I love the old stuff. I love editing them in. I love all that stuff about it. I love art. You guys know it. So I try to take my videos artistic wise. I can't wait to get the camera back. Honestly, I've got a lot of stuff lined up here to. A lot of stuff. There's some major stuff going on behind the scenes that nobody knows about yet. Haven't even shared it with Dom. And Dom's a real good friend of the channel too, but no one knows it other than the folks sitting in here in our facility. So let's see here. Hopefully that helps you. Are you a collector? But Internet Archive is a good source. Hang on, my feed just went all over again. We'll stay on for a little bit longer since we're like 215. It looks like 215 people on right now. As the economy is crashing, you better drop your prices and sell what you can now. I'm not going to worry about that. People who buy from me, a lot of them are high-end businesses or collectors, most of them lately, or college professors and things like that. I'm not going to rush to do anything. It's rebounds. The stuff that people buy from us now are not necessities. They're all stuff that people who have extra money buy from us right now. So, most of the folks that have extra money are in positions that probably don't have to worry much, in all honesty, at least from what I see. I never panic. I'm not going to go and crash my stuff out there. Yeah, I love the 70s ads, 70s or 80s. The stuff that I grew up on, I almost was going to spoil one, but I put another one in there. I'm going to risk one because all the information I found says it's public domain. But you'll see one that I remember very fondly. Maybe I'll even put a little flashing note about that at the end of the video so you can know which one I'm talking about. I don't care about Servicious one. I don't care about anyone's politics either, just as long as they give me my money for my stuff. Yeah, I'm not trying to get into any of that stuff. I don't care what anybody else worries or thinks about or votes for. That's their own personal opinion. That's why we live here in America, because I can vote or do whatever I want. I'm only worried about policies. To me, party doesn't mean much in my book. It's the policies. If you have the policies I want, I'll vote for you, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I don't really care. Hey, Rob, how are you doing? You did make a live show. Nice to have you for your first one. The dream team. Well, thank you, Danny. I know I saw Dom in here a minute ago. Let's see here. Yeah, Stony Boy Curtis. I'm not into any of the politics. I could care less. I'm not going to tell somebody who to vote for. I don't care who you vote for. If my side loses, my side loses. Fair and square, it doesn't matter. I'm not into all that drama. Ray Grenier, paralyzed from the neck up. Well, thank you. Yeah, I love old bottles. Maybe it's not so popular here on YouTube, but I love old bottles. I've dug them. I've, pulled them out of trash piles. I've pulled them out of garbage pits. I've found them in barns and attics and basements. I love bottles. Bluegrass picker. Yeah, there's no sense in messing with. This is a business. I'm not worried about someone's political nature. This is a business. Who cares about any of that stuff? I shut off my personal side, my whole personal life, the minute I'm in my eBay, Amazon, Etsy, whatever mood I'm doing in that day. That's all that matters, is what the activity of my business is that day. That's what we're here for. This is my income. When I'm away from here, not online or anything else, not doing a video or not on a live chat, we do our own thing. I don't worry about what everybody else does. Tea Cakes, I would say across the pond, you are from the UK. I would imagine that is probably correct by the name of your channel as well as your comments. Wouldn't mind going to England one of these days. Yeah, I don't tell anybody about what we do. I mean, I've talked to Dom a million times, and I don't know what political what he's into, or he doesn't know what I'm into. I don't share any of that. It's not like required in my book, because I don't really care. Yeah, Mary Beth, you got to watch out for the prices though on yeah, pickup and delivery. Okay, yeah, okay. I thought that was UPS. I thought you had. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, no one knows what kind of what we are. Honestly, I don't really care. It's nobody's business, and it's none of my business what anybody else is. In all honesty, Ecom Squad, how are you doing? Uh, Fliplord. Okay, thanks for that one there. The man, the myth, the legend. Okay. Hang on here. D Money Picker, how are you doing? I think I answered something for you too, D Money Picker, I thought. Have I not looked at the Dow Jones? I just talked about the Dow Jones. Doesn't affect me. I don't base my life or my business on investment in anything like that. So I am not worried. What I sell has sold through every recession there has been, through 2008, all that stuff. I'm not going to worry. The stuff that I sell and have in my possession has been collectibles for 60 or 70 years. The whole economy of the world would have to collapse beyond just a recession for me to worry about that. Life goes on. I've got many sources of revenue. I do artwork as well, and I can always source different items that are in need if that is the case. So I switch up when one thing doesn't work. So I'm just going to move on and go with what's working now. My sales are way up. They have not gone down. They have went up 62% up right now over last month alone, and last month was way up over the month before. I won't tell you what my percentage is over last year because that's way up. So I'm not worried too much. Gas around here is right around $2, if I'm not mistaken. I don't, I've gotten to a point in the last, say, 3, 4, 5 years. I go to the same gas station pretty much every time. I don't drive around and look for who's cheaper, but I don't pay much attention to what gas price is. I don't drive around that much. I don't go sourcing every day and all that stuff like everybody else does. So my gas, a tank of gas may last a couple weeks sometimes around here. Especially if we only drive one car once and one of the other ones once, it might, I might have 3 full tanks for a week or two. Yeah, Rob, always stay neutral. Just nobody, never ever jumping in. If somebody says something related, I ignore it and act like I didn't read it or didn't hear it, didn't see it, and just don't talk about that. Comments, I just address whatever the business related aspect of the letter, the comment, or the conversation is. I act like I didn't even hear what they said if that's what they bring up, any politics, And then if they go on and on about it, I say I'm just not interested in politics. I'm not a politically motivated talking person. It's just me. Nothing wrong with that. Hang on, let's see if this bounces. Uh, junk Junk Trader. So happy to hear you say this. I listened to another YouTuber's spell today about the sky falling, level-headed approach. I'm not. Everybody worries about this, worries about that. I can't control it. All I can do is if something happens, I fix it when it happens. I figure another way around it, and I go on. There has not been a road that we have not been able to cross in 10 years. I'm not saying it wasn't bumpy. The first 3 years of this, we ate ramen noodles and everything good went to the kids, and the wife and I went without a heck of a lot of stuff. We don't do cable. We don't do satellite TV. Nothing like that. We don't buy extra stuff. I'm not a big person to buy a brand new car. I don't care about fancy clothing. I get the money. I just don't care. It doesn't drive me. It doesn't fulfill me, I guess. Stuff doesn't do it. The family and events and being, having the freedom is what does. So that's all I worry about. I don't worry about all the other stuff. You'll never see me with a Chanel anything. Again, I don't care if that's your thing. Somebody has to have this or a Coach purse or what. I don't care. I don't care if you got to have some luxury car. That's what you like. That's fine. I don't care what somebody else wants or doesn't want. I just worry about myself and I move on. Yeah, but the sky isn't falling. There's trends that have been going on, swinging away from certain clothing and certain this and certain that for years now. So it has no play or difference. if anybody's having an issue in something and it's been going on for a while, you should have sought other avenues and other ways to do it either way, whether there's a virus or not. Certain areas are certainly going bad for certain people as now. So the ones who are going to survive are the ones who are going to be able to innovate and not panic. Number one, if you want to survive this, don't panic. That's the first thing you got to do, is not panic and not be so aggressive. Don't take things personal. This is a business. Again, this is a business. There's nothing personal about anything going on here today. This is all just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not personal. Just stay calm and roll with the punches. If something happens or is thrown in front of you, figure a way around it. That's all I can say, because I like the challenge. Again, I haven't even had to do sales and markdown at all. I haven't had to do anything. I haven't done promoted listings for months, since I'm the one who found out the ad blocker stuff. I haven't done a single one since then. 5-6 months, whatever that was. I'm not looking back. My sales haven't went and tanked. I haven't lost money from it. Again, I've switched up merchandise from what I used to sell 5 years ago. So, I went to all-weather merchandise. Pretty much most of what I sell is all-weather, all time of the year merchandise. I don't do seasonal stuff unless it's like seasonal holidays. That's a different story. But Christmas collectibles sell all year round. Halloween sells all year round. Everything I sell are stuff that people don't need in the first place. That's one thing. So the people who are buying the stuff that I sell and I show you in my videos are stuff that no one has to have. None of it is a necessity. Well, I do sell necessities, but you guys don't get to see that part of it. But the stuff I share with you is all stuff no one needs. They're already spending money that they have extra. So, it's just going to get a little lower. People aren't going to stop collecting baseball cards, if they still have some money coming in. They're not going to do that. And I don't see it getting to that point. This is going to blow over. People are going to be relieved. They're going to want to get out of the house. There's going to be a boom in restaurants. There's going to be a boom going out to the mall. There's going to be a boom in doing stuff. A boom in events, a boom in sports activities. There's going to be some big pushes after this is all said and done. People are going to miss the sports that they love, miss the events that they go to, and they're all going to do it again. So this virus comes, we get it, and then it's done a couple months later. And it's been going on for a little while. So again, I'm not trying to make light of anything. Just don't panic. My God. I mean, the fact that the toilet paper's out and there's only, like 50 or so cases pending possibly in the state with 5 confirmed. It's just a lot of people panic. It's like rubberneckers when you're going down the highway and everybody's going slow and you get up there and there's nothing going on but one little car on the side of the road and everybody has to see what's going on. I don't follow the pack mentality. I'm the guy driving around it trying to get the heck out of the way because I don't care what happened on the side of the road. I just want to get to where I was going and be done. Like if there's a fight in the mall or a fight here or an accident, just who cares? As long as I don't have to be a witness and I didn't see it happen, I just want to get out of there and do my thing. Hate wasting time in traffic. It's bad enough with the drivers we have these days. There's so many bad drivers around where I live. Let's see here. And Duncan, again, I'm not the only one. If you sell certain things, my sales are up. A lot of the old-timers aren't going to want to go out at all, and it's old-timers who are going to collect the stamps and these sorts of things, and that's why they sell so much better when no one's going out. That's why they sell better in the winter for a long length of time, so... Ship and Sunshine, how are you doing? Yeah, I've heard people say that, as I said earlier. My feed is frozen. Oh, come on. My feed is gone. Hang on. Oh, I hate YouTube sometimes. I'm just trying to find out where my feed went. Yeah, Corona beer is probably up. People are going to be sitting home and having more time to drink a few more beers. Mark, PayPal stock is going in the toilet with all the online sales going on. It's surprising. PayPal is going in the toilet because eBay is pretty much steering. eBay was one of their biggest clients, if not their biggest client of all time. And with eBay steering away from it, less and less people are using PayPal. So, PayPal is hurting right now, but I don't see that as any long-term. I want to say they signed with somebody else or have got something else worked out, if I'm not mistaken. How are you doing the quicker flipper picker upper 2019? Kent Daggle, how are you doing? Let's hear. Hang on, let me slide down and see if this doesn't get lost. We'll be on for just a few more minutes here, and I'll cut it off at another 10 or so minutes here. Sam Dallas, 6-bedroom house estate sale on Old Coast Road tomorrow. Old Coast equals money. Hard not to go. There might be less people there. It just depends on, how you feel on the risk and whether it's worth it or not. Look online and see what the photos look like, of course. Kent's listing a ton. Again, that's what everybody should be doing right now. This should be a perfect opportunity for you to list a ton of stuff. And what happens, if I list 100 things, 3 to 5% of those 100 things are going to sell the very day I list them. 2 to 3% are going to sell the second day. Now, I could have sell half of them if I list the right time, the very first day they go up. So every day we list is an increase in our sales. Every single time we list. It's a given. Of course, we know the items, we've researched them, we know they're valuable or worth something in the first place. I try not to list anything unless I'm going to make over a certain dollar amount, no matter what. Hey, Gina, how are you doing? Let's see here. Yeah, we do own some stock, but I'm not doing any moves or makes on anything with stock right now. I'm not too worried. I'll weather it out. It might go down. It'll go up, back up at some point. I don't have to have the money out of it. It's just an investment. It just sits there. Markets go up and down, and that happens every day of the week. Maybe not as drastically, but, they will rebound. Especially if this goes on for a month or so. A lot of people are, we're heading into summer. So they're another reason not to spend money. So come summer, they're going to have extra money, and the sales might be up higher even then. This, in my opinion, is just going to stretch my first quarter sales through another month or so into second quarter. Yeah, the market is the market. They just go up and down constantly. Yeah, those who I'm not selling off. I said, don't sell off. It's going to go up and down all the time. It's the long run. It doesn't have to be flipped right now. There's no sense in it. The companies aren't going under. Obviously, some are, but not related to this. Disney will come back. Any of the big ones. D-Money Picker. There's tons of sites. Just type in antique auction or collectibles auction and near me, and you'll find several pages of stuff that'll tell you. And just go through those on all across the board. Wade does a lot of online auction. There's Wade again. Naomi, how are you doing? Yeah, here's Naomi right here. I took your advice and have been listing like crazy, and I'm up 26%. That's a perfect example of what happens when you list. Every day I list, I sell 3 to 5% minimum. That's the minimum. The lowest I sell, if I list 100 items, I'm selling 3 of those. And there's days when we list 400 or 500 in the same day, so possibly 20 items out of those sell the very first day I list them. There's days that I sell a couple hundred items in one single day, and I'm in the negative for new listings because we didn't get enough up to compensate for that. Sometimes we'll have to pull somebody from listing to help pack. It just depends on what's going on that day. Did I lose? No. Okay, I still got my feed. Shuzia's Picker, my sales have been slightly higher the last 2 weeks. If you list more, I can tell you those sales should go right up too on top of that. Yeah, the post office updating it. I don't think that will happen. I don't use wood glue on records. I would never recommend that. I've seen people do it, but I would still have to go through and clean it anyway. I wouldn't trust that personally. The Stun Law one, how are you doing? Yeah, Sam Dallas there. I know I've seen videos of people doing it, but I would never do that. Yeah, low on options. You can use Well, I'm not going to get into some of my secrets on cleaning records, but I would never use wood glue. There are some very effective ways to clean records. There's ways to stop records from skipping. There's ways to unwarp records, and I've done all of those. And I even patched records that have been cracked, even in half, even like 78s. Creative Uniques. I just acquired a stamp collection, more of the higher price stamps, some with planes on it for airmail. I've seen on your videos. Not sure how to sell a collection. If you're talking about my Patreon videos, send me an email, and you're welcome to post some images of what you have in on my community tab in Patreon if you're a member. Happy to look at them. I always like looking at stamps. I don't do much conversing on stamps anywhere else other than in Patreon, because stamps are a insider thing for most people, and being a stamp lover, I don't give out any more information on stamps than I would like to the general public. Nothing offensive to anybody, but I do pretty much cherish that area. I've been into stamps since I was 7. I inherited my father's collection, and I take great pride in stamps and stuff in general. I love stamps. I love the artwork on them, as a matter of fact. Unicorns don't lie. Static guns, I have never seen or used a static gun on a record, in all honesty. I have static vac, but it has to have vac on it. Without a vac, it's I wouldn't use it. There's other a record cleaner, a water-based record cleaner is the best. It'll loosen up any particles in there. Is the thing there. Even like the wood glue, and I've seen people do it, so don't get me wrong, I wouldn't do it. But if there's something caked on the record, it's still going to be caked on the record when the wood glue's off, depending on, the disc or where it's at anyway. My items are from virus-free home. That's a good one, Aaron. That's a good one. Hoptman, how are you doing? My personal eBay sales are up 219%. My job as e-commerce manager sales are up 20%, averaging almost 5,000 in sales each day on eBay and Amazon. Yeah, I won't give out my sales, but we're doing very well, Hotman. So I'll just say that. I did have a coin sell last week. That's the biggest coin, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it was the biggest biggest valued coin we've ever sold in our life. The coin is a very rare one, and there was less than 100 of them known. It was something that I found. I did show it in a video as well, but that one sold for a lot of money. I could have bought a car with that coin for the kids. So FYI, very very good week. One good day last month, is average people's whole month. We had a real good week last month. Yeah, I don't know how anybody can prove they're from a virus-free home. How's Saul doing there? My sales came to a screeching halt ever since I started listing more ads. I tried using proto listings on my ads. Now all I'm selling are ads instead of my other items. I'm assuming you're talking about you're paying for promoted listings, I would assume. I'm not sure what you're meaning by ads, unless you're paying for like a Google ad off of like Amazon or something. I don't promote any of my stuff, honestly, at all, anywhere. But again, it depends what you have. Yeah, and as I said, ad blockers do block all of those still to this day. Now, eBay is working on a way around that, if you noticed. I haven't checked it out since if you look now when you're doing searches, they have a strip across the middle of the page, and all of the promoted listings are only in that one little strip. So if that is an embedded strip that's part of the framework, in fact, I might want to go check it out. Those ads may not be blocked. But if they're only putting them there and not double posting them, showing the original organic and the ad, you could still be missing out, because I don't pay any attention to when I see it says sponsored. I don't look at anything after that. I don't care if they're sponsored. I ignore all the sponsored ones. Always. I never pay any attention. In fact, most of them are blocked on. There's one laptop that I have that I don't have the ad blocker on, honestly, but the rest of them all have it on. Oh, and if you're paying attention to the pages too on eBay, they have now cleared the far right column. There's only like an ad on the very top, and the whole rest of that column, when I look, is blank. I can almost bet you that's where the Pay-per-clicks are going, so maybe they have finally figured it out. I think they're trying to remove the ad blocker option so you can't block them with ad blocker, and then start bombing everybody with pay-per-clicks on the right. They've narrowed down the item searches on my screen. I don't know how everybody else is, but the item search pages are smaller, so they can fit two parallel strips on either side of them, which it just looks terrible. It looks worse than when it was cluttered up before in my book. I mean, nothing we can do about it. I was hoping they wouldn't do something stupid, but that looks like what they're doing. Steel Prop, hey, from Minnesota, how are you doing? The mob is more dangerous than Corona. That's probably true. I hate to say it. From Four Corners, we went through this in the early 90s. Yeah, there's been several other viruses. I think a big one happened in 1917 or 1919, something like that. Yeah, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up there. We've got well over 200 people there. I always get some with thumbs down. For whatever reason, more people seem to pop thumbs down on the live shows. And I think it's because a lot of people, this isn't their type of content. They just checking a live show and they don't like it, so they click thumbs down, I guess. Don't really care, though. You can't even see in my side of it. I can't even see my thumbs down at all anymore. They don't even show it unless I click on a bunch of stuff and look at analyticals, which, I don't even need to worry about anymore. Kevin, markets tank, insurance companies overinvested premiums in markets. All businesses make claims as things shut down. No liquidity to make payouts. Everybody's going to come back to this. It's just like if you have a blizzard or something for a week or two or something along that line. I am not really that worried on it. If a recession was going to happen, it was going to happen because of all the other issues anyway. This may speed it up, but I don't see... Looking at the market, looking at where everything's running, looking at percentages, looking at how many people are below certain, lines, how many poverty rates going, and all that kind of stuff. I took economy classes. I've took multiple ones, micro, macro. It's required. I've got all the accounting stuff. I'm not going to worry again. There's ways around everything. Every industry doesn't fail. Every industry doesn't, go under like that. Even through the last recession, I made it through just fine. I'm not going to worry about it because what I sell are not needed items. They're expendable items in the first place. Let's see here. Yeah, age of population, another thing, Melissa. That's another good point. Again, the rate depends on where we're talking. That's the whole point. The average of it, what I heard was like 3.9% or 4% or something on average. Yeah, I'm nothing political here, and I'm going to have to kill one of these posts just because I don't allow any political on here. Italy has higher... got that one too. I don't think smoking has much to do with it, honestly. Joyce, start selling items that people can use at home. Seems they will be there quite a lot for the next few weeks. Yeah, as I said, video games, movies, DVDs, Blu-rays, those seem to do very, very well. There's Dom. I'm sure he was on a while ago, and I'm just now getting to him. Just getting out of the insane grocery store, and we don't even have a case in his county. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly. I'm going to cut it off here because we're right about at the mark. But yeah, Dom, that is true. That's what I said. I emailed him or texted him yesterday that the Walmart was empty on toilet paper, and it's pretty much back full now again from what I see. Somebody just texted me about that just a moment ago, but things are going to go back. You're going to run into these people that are running a dash in a store because everybody's got a panic on everything, and it's not to a panic mode. Stay in. Don't go out in big public places. If you're sick, don't go anywhere. Don't expose anybody you don't have to do, and keep listing. That's what I can say. That's all I'm going to worry about is getting stuff up, investing my time and energy in listing. I don't have to go anywhere. Once my kids are out of school, my youngest, I think after Monday is the last day for anything at school. They're going to be home for a few weeks, and there's not going to be much to do anyway, so a lot of work's going to get done. You know, it's a perfect time. I mean, I couldn't ask for probably a better time frame, not for this reason, but I couldn't ask for a better time frame to have something like this happen, at least for business aspect of it, to get stuff up, you know, because this is usually a time of year when most of the kids that work for us are in school and exams and things like that. The trimester ended and all this other stuff, so I won't have, you know, lack of workers at least. So anyway, but I do appreciate everybody coming on. Hopefully everybody weathers this little storm here very well. Hunker down. There's always going to be something to sell. If you've got used clothing, it might sell better after this because people won't have as much money or will be going out sourcing to buy new clothing. You might sell some more clothing this time of year as well, too. So, again, I appreciate everybody coming on. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button for me. Patreon video is already up, as I said. A new video is coming out for this channel here, probably in the mid-afternoon section when I post it for everybody. I hope you have a good night and be safe. Keep everybody else safe as well.